Well, hello, Facebook. We are back for
We're
day
back.
5. I'm LaDawn Elliott,
I'm Nicole Bradley.
and we are in our 12-day series. This is day 5 of our 12-day Conquering the Inner Storm live stream, where we are sharing with you how to use the journal. And we are sharing our experiences. And for extra added bonus, we have invited special guests each night to come in and share their experience with the journal and on the topic that we are discussing that day. So we're excited. I just want to
Yes.
say this. This has been a labor of love for us. And this was curated out of us wanting to figure out how we could reach more people and help more people doing what we do. And that is to serve others through professional development, personal development, coaching, and so many other things. But we really wanted to make sure that we touched as many people as we could. And this journal is the perfect way to do that. Whether you're able to attend a workshop or not, this is something that you can pick up and work through on your own or work through with a group.
That's
So,
right.
yeah, just wanted to say that before we jumped in. So, are you ready tonight, Nicole?
I am ready, Freddie.
Ready, Freddie. Okay, cool
So
beans.
I know tonight is coping with the demands of parenting and family and parenting. Now I'm telling you, I got my tissue ready because y'all already warned y'all I'm a waterhead. So if a real grown thug, share a tear or two, it probably gonna come out of this chapter. Okay, so
Okay,
I'm
okay.
ready. I'm ready.
Okay, we'll take it. We'll take it. So, coping with the demands of family and parenting. So, you want to jump right in? I'll read the excerpt and then you want to start with the one word activity?
Yep, I can.
Okay, all right. So, the excerpt is dealing with the demands of family and parenting involves finding a balance between meeting the needs of your family and taking care of yourself. This may involve setting boundaries, finding ways to manage your time, and seeking support when needed. It can also be helpful to establish routines and create a positive and nurturing environment for your children. Finding ways to stay connected with your partner and maintain your relationship can also be important. By effectively managing the demands of family and parenting, you can create a harmonious and fulfilling home life. So, the first activity is to find one word from that excerpt that resonates with you that you can speak to. So, Nicole, we'll have you jump
Yep.
right on in.
I found one sentence.
Okay. You found one sentence. Okay.
We found
Okay.
one sentence.
All right.
The part where it says finding ways to stay connected with your partner. That's where I focused on for my one word
Okay.
for this chapter. And so I said at this point, we have to make, but let's start over. At this point, we have to break some prior routines in order to create some new routines as empty nesters.
Okay.
We have to undo the past 20 to 25 years of constantly putting the needs of our kids and household first, or putting the demand of those things that cause us to meet the needs of our kids and households, like our jobs and finances. Today, staying connected is more opportunities to talk, more opportunities to date, travel, and plan. It also includes expanding our bubble to include other like-minded people who are in this emptiness that journey that we're on. So for us, kids have always kind of been in the picture. So now it's like, wait a minute, if I want to stay connected to my partner, I got to figure out how to do that. And I'm
Okay.
glad I like my partner. Like I'm
Yeah.
glad
That's
because
important. That's
when
important.
because his kids, when we started initially dating and getting our first few years of marriage, his children were already like about to graduate high school and kind of were moving to doing their own thing. Trey was very young, so now that Trey is in college, I'm like, oh please, Lord Jesus, let me like this guy, like because it's gonna be a lot more time with him, like concentrated time with him.
Yeah.
And I do love him very much, but I wanted to see how we can now move and shake in our new role as we have nobody to kind of put first right now, but each other. And that's
Okay.
just been different.
Well, two questions. Two
Yep.
questions. Has that been a difficult transition? Question number one.
Oh, I thought you was gonna give me question
No,
number
no,
two.
no.
Okay, that's probably good to give me one at a time because I'm slow. Yes, it
Okay.
has. Yes, it has been a difficult transition. And not difficult like negative, but difficult like, other demands have come about. Like now that I'm working from home every day or a stay-at-home for mom, I guess, it's like, the expectation of dinner being done every day, like what in the ham and cheese
Yeah,
sandwich,
yeah.
like I don't like myself enough to cook for me every day.
Okay, okay.
So I know I
I
don't
can
like
vouch for
you.
that. I don't either. I don't either.
So
Okay.
I think it's been difficult to make sure I know the new expectations and then coming to terms with what the negotiation of the new expectations look like. So we're both on the same page.
Okay,
So
well,
I would
I
say that
lied.
part has been difficult.
I lied. I have another question. So,
Okay.
new expectations, what the new expectations are.
Yep.
Did you guys discuss that, or is that just an evolving process and you're making room to see how it goes?
It's evolving.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, the other question isn't a question. It's a ask of you.
Yep.
Can you share with the RP journalers that are listening,
Yes, RP journal. I like that. RPJs. We got
our
RPJs.
RPJs that are listening? Could you give
Right.
them one tip for making the transition? Because we're talking about coping with the demands of family and parenting. Now you don't have the demands of parenting because all the kids are grown and out of the house. Could
Right.
you give one tip to them for transitioning to this empty nester state?
Oh man, I'm like looking at my notes. I don't have it written down. Okay. I think one tip that I can give is to be um honestly is to be open about the conversation and to be open about the things that make you happy. It's like for me, I had to be very open about, well, now we got, I don't want to call it free time, but now we got this new lifestyle, so to speak. I wanted to be open to what was still a priority for me.
Okay.
And I wanted to make sure that that was addressed. And then I wanted to be, how can I say it? I wanted to be very honest about where my next plateau is, like my next jump off is. So even though the parenting may not be there, there may be a couple of other things that are intermingling with that, and I wanted to be open with Ron about that.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think you hit it
I,
on the head. Yeah.
yeah, and
Open
Ron is
communication.
extremely disciplined, extremely routine, and it's like, peanut butter and jelly every day at lunch, turkey sandwich, on Sundays. I mean, he's very routine, and I'm like, let's mix it up, let's do Taco Thursdays, and he's like, whoa, like time out. So I had to really prep him for a new layer of spontaneity with me because that's he got a whole new different level of energy that he wasn't expecting.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 Okay. 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 No, that's great. That's great. Before I jump into my one word, let me say hello to Verna,
Hey,
Jackie,
Jay.
Felicia Taylor, Felicia Roberts, and Betty. Thank you for joining this evening. And Felicia
Yeah.
Roberts put in her menu dinner tonight. It was pasta and pork chops, so there might be some ideas for you. And
Oh, yes.
yes, yes. So she's making an ode to her mom and how her mom cooked back in the day. So
Oh, right.
I was able to get one word this time. The first time we're all the way on topic 5, and I found one word. So
Oh,
the word
man.
from this excerpt that I chose was harmonious. So it's
Right?
very important to have harmony in the house because everyone in the house is a different person. Everyone
That's
has
true.
different needs, has different wants, and you have to figure out a way to make it a place that everybody wants to be at because home is your refuge. It
Yeah,
should be your safe place, right? And so
right.
I think it's important. I'm going to talk about two things: structure, rules and structure versus a dictatorship. So I think it's important for families, especially children in the family, to have some structure. So for me, we ate dinner together at the table every night. They had the same wake up time every morning. They went downstairs and had breakfast at the same time every morning. We left at the same time every morning. They had chores that they had to do. They had days that they could do specific chores based on what was happening. So I think that structure is needed so everybody knows what's happening.
I need to come live with you for about 3 months. Ron would appreciate you training me. He would appreciate you training me in the said structure.
He would appreciate this version of me probably now, as opposed to the version that my children and my husband, and then after I got divorced, my mate had to deal with, because OCD. She was there, right? And so that's what we get from the structure to the dictatorship. So although that structure was there, I had to have things done a certain way. And that could be very overwhelming for people. You can push people out because it makes them feel like their opinion doesn't matter. What they desire doesn't count. You know, you make people feel like they're not capable of doing things because it has to be your way. So I think I've learned later. I mean, they were pretty much out of the house at this time because I was going through my transition of trying to find some peace. Some light bulbs went off, you know. So I understand the importance of considering the other people in the house, because if you don't, the walls start closing in on people, and home, instead of feeling like a safe place, can feel like a jail. So that's why harmonious stuck out for me in that particular excerpt, because I think it's very important for us to create a harmonious, safe space for everyone in the house. So those were the words for me. The word, I'm so proud of myself. I picked one word this time. So again, we're on day 5, lifestyle topic number 5, coping with the demands of family and parenting. And we just read the excerpt from the chapter and did the one word activity, which is the first activity in the book. And again, I'm hoping everyone that's joining us each night is able to kind of follow along based on us kind of having a structure of how we're going through the book. But
can't follow along. That means you need to buy this. Get the book. Get the
go
book.
get it. Go get it quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And so next we have the quote and question. You got it, Nicole.
I had a follow up for you. You said structure versus dictatorship. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, structure versus dictatorship. So, what did your family, if they had to say, part of this feels like a dictatorship to me? What was that for them, or do you know?
Everything. No, I'm being honest. Everything. I mean, there was freedom in, okay, what do you want to eat? You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a vote on what I'm going to cook this evening. Where do you want to go out to eat? What movie are we gonna watch? You know, those kind of things. But how the household was run, it had to be this way. We had to do this at this time. This washcloth had to be folded this way and put just so in the linen closet. You know, there had to be certain lines going a certain way in the vacuum. Like everything. Everything. Yeah.
Got it.
To the degree that it was like, if something was happening and I needed to prepare the house for people coming over, they knew to just leave. Just leave her alone, because she's gonna be completely insane. And anything that we try to do is not gonna be right, not gonna be good enough. And just every day it was something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roger that. Got it. So I'll take the first quote and question, LaDonna, if you're good with that. So the first quote and question is the quote is this: being a parent is the hardest job you'll ever love, unknown. And my response was, I agree 100%. My children often show me the good and the negative parts of me. They even show me the things that are most important and least important to them. I often ask my children, how can I be a better parent, to keep that dialogue open, fresh, and to take their exchange to heart. Okay. So I do that on probably a couple times a year. You know, how can I be a different parent? What do you need me to do that you're not getting from me? And then sometimes that's an opportunity for us to talk about if there are gaps that I may see in our relationship or how much we talk as well. So, when I'll give you an example, when my daughter may say, well, I would love for you to have a closer relationship with the grandkids. And I was like, okay, I'm glad you brought that up. I would like to have a close relationship with my grandsons as well, but
Okay.
you live 6 hours away. Or whenever you come into the area, there's limited time for us to spend because you've already allocated your schedule. So that's the time for us to kind of build an awareness of, well, there may be some things you're doing that I view as a barrier, and there may be things I'm doing that you view. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great because I don't think enough parents, at least I'll speak for the Black household. Parents are the boss. They're the king and queen of the home, and you do as they say, and that's kind of it, right? So for you to be forward thinking and progressive enough to ask for how can I do whatever better to make a
Right.
better relationship. Yeah, that's pretty cool because most parents ain't trying to hear that. Because
They
I
ain't
go
trying
to
to.
work, I provide for you, I keep these lights on, I buy your food, I buy your sneakers. They ain't trying to hear that. So that's pretty cool.
And I would say the only one, I got feedback from Trey one day. He said, Mom, you just don't listen.
Mm.
He said, you already got the answer. Like, it's
Mm.
no need for me to give you a reason because you already got the answer. So I don't
Girl,
even, when you talking to me, I don't even say my side. I don't even try because you already got the answer. And I
girl, when I
said,
tell you,
ooh,
you didn't
okay,
step
but
on you
I
step on my
appreciate you for
toes.
telling me.
Yeah, yeah. And you have to be ready when you
Yeah,
ask for
because
things. They'll tell
sometimes
you.
it ain't nice to have
Yeah.
that conversation.
Yeah, girl, you just stepped on my toes, my toenails, my ankles, my shins, my kneecaps. Oh my God, that was something that was told to me all the time. Like, why even say? Because you got the answer.
You
So
got
yeah.
the answer. You
Oh,
already know.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
and then the question for that particular session was, how can you find a balance between meeting the needs of your family and taking care of yourself? So, of
Mm,
course, we've talked about some of the other chapters, this balance, taking care of your needs, all of that has kind of been a recurring theme. So I think that's the hardest for people to do. It's definitely hard for me to do. So I wrote this in a checklist fashion.
okay.
I think you have to establish priorities. You have to address competing priorities, because you don't want people to feel like their priorities are not important.
Right.
You got to address that. You got to establish the boundaries that put all of those in the proper place. You have to work. Then for me, I got to work within my limits. I got to say no, and say no has been a common thread as well. And then establish check-ins. So I think it's
Very
time.
good.
I think you gotta spend time with your family checking in. If
Yes.
it's a conference call, if it's a FaceTime, if it's a quick voicemail, however you do it, text message, writing a letter, sending a card, whatever you do, you got to take time to check in.
Yeah. Oh, whoo, we can close the chapter. Good night, everybody. No, seriously. I mean, though, it's so important. And again, the time frame in which our parents were reared and the time frame in which we were reared. What?
It's just different. Yeah. Yeah.
You get a check in when you pull up to McDonald's, and I'll ask you if you want a cheeseburger or a hamburger.
I may
Kind.
ask you what you want because you may not have a choice.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
I want a number 4
yeah,
with
yeah.
a
So
small
yeah,
Coke.
that is so major. Like not just with your kids, but with your spouse. That check in is uber important,
Yeah.
and we walk around and we in that house, but
That's true. You're
everybody might
doing
not be on the
different
same
stuff.
page. Yeah, and
Yep.
stuff is just bubbling under the surface, right? So
Right.
Verna said OCD is very real and destructive. And that is true.
Correct.
I can attest to that. And she's probably heard more from my sons regarding my OCD because they talk to her, right?
That's
And
right. That's right.
they have a very good relationship with her, and they've been able to be open and honest with her. So yeah, I'm aware of that, and I have been continuously trying to grow in that area and improve
Mhm.
in that area. So yeah, it is. And Felicia says she won't chime in. No, that's why we're here. Come on, chime in.
Come in,
I'll ask.
chime on
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
chime on.
Everybody on this call that has checked in is a parent. So I would
Yeah.
love for you to put in the chat just one thing. Being a parent is the hardest job you ever have. what was one of the hardest things that you had to deal with being a parent? Just think about anything that was very hard for you to deal with as being a parent and share it. Share it and
Yep,
see if it rings true for somebody else.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I have quote and question number 2. So the quote is, the most important work you and I will ever do will be within the walls of our homes, by
Mm,
Harold B. Lee. I believe that. That is so true. So as a parent for your children, you are your children's first love. You're the first person they fall in love with. You're the first person they learn how to love, or they learn love from, right? How to give
yeah.
love. You are their first friend before they go to school, before they meet anybody outside. You're their first friend. You're their first teacher. So
Oh,
we have a significant level of influence in their lives. So I do believe if you're a single parent, or if you have a spouse and you're raising these children together, you have to be on the same page. I didn't say you had to be the same person. You just have to be on the same page with what's important for you in raising those kids, right?
mm-hmm.
Uh, how you're going to do it, who's going to do what. And I've been in a situation where we were not on the same page because
Yep,
our backgrounds were different.
right.
And that creates that disharmony. So you have to be on the same page, not only for the kids, but as mates. You got to be on the same page, because your kid, baby, you can be deaf, mute, blind, all the things. Your kids are watching everything you do. You don't have to utter a
Yes,
word. You don't have to ever utter a word. They are watching what you do all the time.
yes,
And again, you're their first teacher. So until they get out in the world and discover what they learn from you doesn't work, or someone else says something different, guess what they're going to do? Emulate you, right?
right.
And that's why kids can be our biggest mirrors. They can hold up to us and tell us ugly stuff that we ain't ready to um acknowledge, right? And we're wondering where they got that behavior from. You was it. You was the person.
Hey, all day, every day. I never forget um, my mom worked long hours, but a bill collector called the house.
Oh,
And so in my mind, I'm like, my auntie would be like, well, just tell them I ain't here, or, whatever, and I'm like, well, mom, you let me know you ain't here. This is before like voicemail for real, or call ID. And she was like, no, I ain't gonna start teaching you how to lie. And I was like, what does she mean by this? And then I was like, so you want the call? Like, do you want you, I don't know if you got money. Like, I don't know. Like, I just know what I've been doing for my other aunties, who dodging.
right.
She's like, I ain't gonna teach you how to lie. I was like, she said, so what do you tell them? Ah.
Right.
She was like, give me the phone. I was like, oh, okay, okay, yeah. Cause I ain't know. I was
Right. But that's true.
but now today that rings so true. Like she was like, oh, she knew we was watching her.
Yeah.
Obviously. And she
Yeah.
was like, I'm not gonna teach you to do this. I want you to address things head on, whether they're good, bad, or ugly. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, mama, can I go outside and play now?
Yeah.
Like I was ready to get out of the house because I
Yeah.
felt stressed.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're watching us. So we have to make
Yeah,
sure again that we always remember what happens inside of these walls is what
yes,
they
sir.
take out into the world. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I 100% believe that quote. And we have a couple things that came up in the
Yeah.
chat. Let me see.
Let's go to the chat.
Let's see.
RBJers.
So Felicia Taylor put, the question was, what was the hardest part about being a parent? She put child number 2. Just child number
Okay, that's me. That's me. And my mama would agree. Out of
2.
six, I
Child number
was by
2.
far the
Okay.
hardest.
Okay.
Child
Oh
number
wow.
two.
Okay. They said that second one, that with the middle one, or
Ooh,
that second one, if you just have 2, they come a little different.
great,
They be ready.
great.
They be ready. Okay, Lisa. And Ron has joined the conversation. Thank you for watching as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and get to the question. How can you establish routines and create a positive and nurturing environment for your family and close friends? So you said it, Nicole. You have to talk to your family. You have to
Yeah.
see what they want, how they want to spend time, what they need to do. You have to come together and have those conversations and
Mhm.
figure out ways to create that time. Like, you every child is different. Every child is different. One child might need more time with you and the other might need more alone time. You have to figure that out through that conversation.
Yeah.
Figure out how you can incorporate those things. You have to figure out how to spend special time with your family. You know, creating date nights with your family. You know, everybody can have a movie night at home together or whatever, or date night. I never forget when when I was pregnant with my second one, I, I I was scared to death of having a second child because I was thinking, how in the world can you love them equally? How do you do
Yeah.
that? And I thought to myself, well, my mom was able to do it because she had a boy and a girl, and they different, right? But I was
Right.
gonna
Yeah.
have two boys, and I was like, how do you do that? And so to make sure I was still focused in on my oldest, we had date nights. So I would just take him out, take him away, so we could
Mhm.
go out for pizza or whatever. And he still have his specific time, but you
Oh,
have
that's
to pay
cool.
attention to each person and see what they need, right? And so
That is
I know for my
cool.
oldest, we developed special time watching anime. I can tell you more than you need to know about every anime cartoon out there, and they still look at anime today. So that's our thing. And he'll talk to me about it now, just like we talking about something at work, right? And my
Yeah.
youngest is into music. We bond. He's going to introduce me to every new artist that he's listening to. When we ride in the car, he has to play me his music. He has to play me whatever new artist when he comes over. That's what we're doing. So you have to figure out how you can create those special times and special moments with your kids and also with your mate, because they need some.
Right.
Sometimes you got to say, bump them damn kids. You know what I'm saying? Spend time
Right.
with your mate. Because if
Well,
we're lucky, if we're lucky, our kids will grow up and leave, and you're still with your mate, and y'all still got to
right.
like each other. Y'all
I
still got to
told
know
you,
each other.
girl.
Yeah, you still got to figure
I'm
out
glad
how
I
you're going
like
to do the
Ron.
rest of this dance alone, with this
Right.
person now. So yeah, you got to put that time in. You got to put that time in. So that's how you can establish routines, by having the conversation and nurturing everybody's individual spirit. Okay, so Brenda joined the conversation. Thank you. And she said, I'm their second child. She's number two. And whoo. So Lisa, I guess she is
I understand, Brenda. I
she's
understand.
amen in the child two. Nicole and Brenda are amen in the child two syndrome. Okay.
Ooh, that second was hot.
Woo. Yeah, my
Look,
second one is different. He's grown. He's been here
I'm
before.
telling you, me and my oldest sister are polar opposites. I mean, completely
Yeah,
polar opposites.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know how my mom did it. I just don't. She
Well,
got more
it was
love
a few
than
of
most.
y'all. Y'all can kind of play with each other. So yeah.
Better each other out.
Yeah, that
Coolio
number
Julio.
the number two is rough. Okay, so I think I have the next question too. Question and quote.
Yep.
So the quote is, "It's not about perfection." Somebody should have told my OCD that.
Me too.
It's not about perfection. It's about effort. And when we invest effort in our families, the returns are immeasurable. Okay, for real, for real. I set out to be the perfect wife, the perfect mom, the perfect PTA mom, the perfect taekwondo mom, the perfect softball mom, whatever had the mom title on it. I was trying to be that perfect parent. I was trying to be what I believe was the perfect mate. And it was so wild because I judged that based on other people's relationships and the things that people were doing that I didn't like. And if he would come home and talk about one of his coworkers and their wife, whatever he found distasteful that their wife was doing, I was trying not to do that, right?
Right,
I would have
right.
sat down and asked you what was perfect for you, right? But anywho, uh, that perfection will kill you in every area of your life because there's no such
Absolutely.
thing. You can do
Right.
something really, really well. You can be exceptional, but there's always room for improvement. There's nothing that's perfect. And no one told me that. And I was driving myself literally crazy trying to be all these things. And I quickly lost who LaDon the person was because I was trying to be perfect in all of these roles.
Hmm.
So you have to invest the effort in trying to find out what the needs are rather than trying to create this perfect picture. And so the question is, in what ways have you made investments in your family that were not financial?
Mm,
That's the hook, line, and sinker in that
that's
question,
a
that were
hook.
not financial. Yeah. And how do you measure such investments? So I try to do mealtime was a big time for us. Like
Mhm.
I'm a foodie, my kids are foodie. They love food. They love to cook food. They love to shop for food. We love to eat together because that was the time that we discussed today. So I made that investment to make sure we always at every day, if we were all
Mhm.
home together, that we were gonna sit down and have that meal together. Um, Holidays, trying to make the holidays special. I'm not a holiday person. Like it's just, and let me take that back. I love the holidays and I love spending time with my family. I don't like
Uh-huh.
preparing for it, like the whole
Yeah.
Christmas tree and the glitter staying on your couch for 30 years after you take the tree down. I hate it. I hate it. But doing those things, whether it is coordinate with family to make sure that time we spend together is really special and everybody's enjoying that time. Just little stuff like I allowed each of the boys to pick out the color of their room and the things that they wanted on their walls. I'll never forget one time. Now my oldest at this time was probably 21ish,
Mhm.
22ish, or something like that. He had gone to the service and came back, but he's into Taekwondo.
Mhm.
And I went to get these little shelves, these little shelves you put on the wall. People usually put little cute pots or pictures on these shelves, little mini bookshelves. He took Taekwondo when he was little, and we had all these belts, but they were not placed anywhere. I went and
Okay.
got these little shelves and mounted all of those belts on those little shelves and mounted his Muay Thai gloves on one of those shelves as well. And him and my youngest, they were somewhere, and I did it while they were gone. They came in, and I was feigning sleep. I was pretending to be asleep. You would have thought Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, Martin Luther King, and Jesus
Not,
at
not
all
Martin
came.
Luther
At
King.
all came. He was so excited, like, "Oh my God, look what she did! Look what she did! Oh my God!" You took him over the edge, and that was it was nothing to do, but it was saying,
Yep,
I see you. And the same
that's
thing
right.
for my youngest in the kitchen. Let you whatever spice you want to you do you express you. So just doing things that mean a lot to them and trying to invest that time into them. So that's how I went about that.
Oh, that's awesome. I tell you, Trey is I wouldn't say he's a little bit, we celebrate little things like whenever he got a goal, like if he had a goal to get to the next reading level before Christmas or
Okay.
something like that. But we also did little things and that we have our secret handshake.
Okay.
So before he starts his game, we got our own mom and son secret handshake. And there's certain things I say that lets him know that I'm in the audience because
Okay.
sometimes I may get to a game late and I may say something like, "That is my boy, that is my boy," and he know like, okay, that's my
Yeah,
mom.
yeah,
I kind of
yeah,
know where she is.
yeah,
So little stuff like little, that's our little thing. I think you should have that with family
yeah.
members too.
And they
Like this
remember that
is your
stuff.
thing, yeah.
They remember that stuff. They really, really do. They really, really do. So yeah, yeah. Okay. So before you
Cool.
get into the last quote and
Yeah.
question,
What we got?
Nicole, what we're gonna do after
Uh-huh.
Nicole finished the question, we're gonna bring on our special guest, and I'm excited to have her tonight.
Special
Before
guest,
we,
special
yeah.
guest.
Before we do that, I just wanted to say thank you again to everybody that's joining. If we say something that rings true with you, hey, go ahead and put a comment in the chat, or if it's something that comes up in you based on what we say, go ahead and put it in the
Right.
chat. But
Put
I
it in
also
there.
wanted to remind you all to jump on Etsy, etsy.com, search Conquering the
It's
Inner Storm.
amazing.
That's where you can purchase your
Mhm.
journal. And back
And
to the
you
regular
can, yeah, I was
schedule.
gonna say you can go through this journal alone or with the group, like
Yeah,
we're sharing, because I feel like this exchange has been helpful. And this exchange has helped us understand the next phase of conquering the inner storm. So
yeah,
I'm excited. Okay,
yeah.
I'm flipping my page now. I'm flipping my page. All righty. So the quote in question. So the quote is, parenting is a journey that brings both joy and challenges. Embrace it with grace, patience, and a sense of humor. So, between you got grace, patience, and a sense of humor. For those on the chat, whether you know my parenting style or not, what would I most likely do? Have
Mm.
grace, have patience, or a sense of humor? Go ahead and drop that in the chat. Do I have grace, patience, or a sense of humor?
I have to say,
One of
everybody
those
on
is
this
the right
call,
answer by far. I'm
yeah,
just saying, you know.
everybody on here tonight has been with us just about every night. So you've seen enough of Nicole's personality to know whether or not, or to guess whether or not she would do grace, patience, or a sense of humor as a style of parenting. So put it in the chat. Put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat.
Okay,
Okay.
we got our first answer, but I'm gonna let other people.
Okay, we're gonna let them go.
But
Okay, okay. So let me say here. Okay, so I say I believe that parenthood is overall a joyous experience. But the challenges, much like our storms, makes it all better for us as we navigate through it. So I think just parenting is just a learning experience. Like you have some good weeks, you have some good days, you have like it was a time I absolutely could not stand my son. Like nothing I liked about him. Like his seventh grade year, I was like, hey, if you want to go live with somebody else, I may be all right with that.
that's a wonderful boy.
that
Six,
that
six
that
to eighth grade.
boy, I was like,
Yeah.
who are you? Like you are, I don't even know who you are. So anywho, so I think it's just like our storms, you get better the more you go. But I think our kids honor just seeing us do better and trying,
Yeah.
trying to do better. And for my question is, how can I cultivate gratitude and find joy in everyday moments of parenting? What parenting pitfalls have you given yourself permission to extend grace and forgiveness over? So this is one of these pages I got water drops and teardrops and all that on.
Okay.
So,
Well, before
but
you do that, let me answer.
yeah,
Let me see. I think
you
we got
answer the
three.
question. Okay.
Yeah, we got 3 for 3. Felicia, Taylor, Brenda, and Verna all said humor. Would they be correct?
Ding, 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 ding,
Ding, ding, ding,
ding.
ding, ding. Okay, okay,
Grace is second, and
okay,
patience is way, way behind. I'm working on patience. I'm
okay,
working on that right there. Lord,
okay,
my
okay,
husband has helped me work on patience. How do I cultivate gratitude about moments of parenting? Um, just speaking with the kids every day, catch ups, meaningful discussions, embracing playfulness as a gift.
mm,
Like when my kids are not as serious as I want them to be in that moment, I'm like, okay, just take a moment to play through this moment.
yeah,
Sometimes everything is just not so serious. Prayer, honoring my word and leading by example. I think if I want them, the best way I can show them is to do it
uh,
and not even say it. I think the best thing I can do is show them, and then consistency in love and in punishment. So
okay,
I was that type of mom. If you're on punishment for 2 weeks, you're on punishment, and it's gonna stick, and you're gonna be on punishment for 2 weeks. I don't care if it is Christmas Eve. You're on punishment. We'll
right.
celebrate Christmas January 2nd. Like I was that type of mom. I was pretty bad. But the what have I forgiven myself or extended grace? Is trying to be both parents. So for
Mm,
years I was a single parent. And
okay,
so I had to forgive myself for trying to be both parents. There's just no way you can do it. There's no way I could teach my son how to be a man because I'm a woman. And I just had to come to grips with that. And not to say I was a bad parent, I got boundaries. I got my own confines as well, right? Um, by showing, sometimes I show off my contributions as a way of saying your dad is not doing what I think he should be doing. So let me just deflate him. I ain't gonna talk bad about him, but
mm,
I'm gonna deflate him a little bit. He ain't that important. I'm being honest with y'all. And then I am also a member of the School of Hard Knock Club. I'm probably the president of the school. And so there was probably some things I should have extended grace on that I didn't. And it didn't, I don't think, I hope it didn't damage trade, but I think there were times I probably could have jumped in a little sooner to say, oh, you know what, I'm fighting with you. I'm in here with you
okay,
as a moment of support versus, hey, you got yourself in it. I want to see you get yourself out of it.
yeah, yeah. Oh, those are
So
good, Nicole. Those are
yeah,
so
so
good.
that's why I said I cried on that part because I realized that just in reflecting on this, that I had been that type of parent, not a messy parent where I'm like, well, your daddy don't do X, Y, and Z, and you blah 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 blah. But I was sly with it. I was slick, nice, nasty with it when the opportunity presented itself, and so I've since asked for forgiveness for that. from his dad and also from Trey, because that's something I shouldn't have did.
Yeah, those are really, really good. Now, I'm gonna ask the RPJs to put in the comments,
RPJ,
and I really, really want to know, because there's so many things that I've had to forgive myself for as a parent. There are so many
yeah,
things that I've apologized to my sons for. There's so many things I've apologized to my ex-husband for. There's so many things that I've apologized to my significant other that was my significant others for years. I would
yeah,
like to know, what have you forgiven yourself for as a parent?
yeah,
Because
because it's
I
really needs
think if
to.
you don't answer any more questions during this 12-day series, someone looking back at the comments of this video, or watching the video and seeing that comment come up, I think you'll help a lot of people out, because I think it's a lot of room for improvement, because we're trying to be perfect, or we just, figuring this thing out every day and doing all kinds of things, right? What have you forgiven yourself for, from your parenting? Put that
Uh,
in the chat. I would just love to know. I would just really love you. You touched on some major things. Oh my gosh.
I'm ashamed to say, but not ashamed.
Oh, you should be,
I'm
because you're human.
glad
You
that
learned it too.
I'm glad I'm growing. Let's say that I'm growing, but I never, again, like Armisha said and Milton said yesterday, I never just wrote it down. Like I didn't know that there was things I needed to forgive myself for, and maybe ask for forgiveness about as well.
So we always talk about what's in it for me. What's in it
Definitely.
for you, the person that's looking to purchase this journal?
Freedom, some
Freedom.
freedom. Yes,
Releasing some stuff, writing this stuff down. It's been in there, but seeing it and
yeah.
writing it
Write it
down,
down.
oh baby, it opens the floodgates. So
That's right.
yeah,
That's
thank you
right.
for sharing. Thank you for sharing. So our special guest has joined us. We have Miss Brenda King tonight. Thank you so
Brenda
much,
the King.
the King. Thank you for joining us
Yes.
tonight. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I'm live. Can I give a shout out?
You can.
Shout out to
Yeah.
my my son, my husband. Hey.
Okay, yeah.
That's right. Give a shout out. Right to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Thank you guys.
I'm excited to have you here tonight, because you were one of the first people to get the journal and work
Yep.
through it and share some very um, emotional things about your experience with the journal. So I'm hoping that you feel comfortable enough to be transparent with our RPJs tonight about
Mhm.
your experience with the journal. What resonated with you? What did it bring up? What did it make you aware of? And if there were specific parts in the journal, particularly for this topic, the one word, the closure, love letter, whatever, that was important for you, and what happened as you were going through those.
Okay.
Now, before you start though, a bit of
Uh-huh.
humor. Before you start, a bit of humor.
Okay.
That's Brenda's real hair. That's not bundles,
Yeah, yeah,
okay? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
trying to
yeah,
figure out
yeah.
where she got her bundles from. It's all real. I just want to throw that out there. Okay, I'm sorry.
What was that shampoo everybody was using at one time?
Yeah,
Mane
I'm
and
trying to
tails.
fight.
Yeah,
On the main.
yeah,
Mane
yeah.
and tail,
She's
mane and
on horse and
tail.
mane and tails.
Yeah,
Right
Yeah,
time to
yeah.
use it.
seriously. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a little genetics. A little bit of genetics in there. Yeah, I think
gotcha. Okay,
my
Brenda, I'm
dad
sorry.
did that for me. He did
Okay,
do that
okay,
for me.
okay, Dad. Okay, Dad.
Okay. So thank you guys for having me. So first I will say I was never a journaler. That was like not my thing, writing a diary. But in true Nicole and LaDon fashion, you guys helped me step out of my norm. Um,
Oh,
and I was actually kind of surprised at how much time I spent working through this.
Okay,
So, yeah, as LaDon said, I went through some emotions because it was just very reflective for me. Um, so I'll be transparent today as much as I can. I don't
okay.
want to cry on live, but we'll see how this
girl, it's
goes.
okay, girl. Tears are welcome.
Yeah, okay. But you guys, you touched on it a little bit that there's just something therapeutic about writing down your thoughts and just kind of expressing yourself on paper, especially when like no one's going to see it. So you can just write, say what you want to say, and no one's going to see it. So thank you both for always encouraging me to kind of push my boundaries, and being my lifeline, because that is what you guys are. So um, so now the entire section 5 just really stood out for me because I feel like this title is just my life right now. It's my all day, every day coping with demands of family and parenting. So as I went through the sections, sometimes I don't even know if I really answered the questions in this chapter in entirely because I went down like a rabbit hole. And then, of course, I had my own interpretations of the quotes. Um, but it always took me down like a path of reflection that I didn't even realize that I needed to go down. So it was like peeling an onion. So every question just peeled back more layers. So I'll touch on a few things that kind of really made me realize that I need all sorts of counseling, like marriage, like everything. So
Me too.
this touched on a lot. So I bounced around in my emotions with this journal. So I'm gonna bounce around a little bit, just kind of going through the questions.
Okay.
So starting on page 68, so I was also on the struggle bus with just picking one word. So there was just a lot of things that stood out for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
But for this one, what stood out was really meeting the needs of your family and taking care of yourself. So I kind of turned this section into like an activity. So when I had my kids, I just always associated myself like through them. So as
Yeah.
long as their needs are met, then my needs are met. So it's like that's
Mm,
just what it is. I
Wow.
have kids now, so if I'm meeting their needs, then I'm meeting my own personal needs. So reading this passage was like, let me just, what does that mean for me? Let me just put it in buckets. So I have my family bucket, then I had my self bucket, and then I had my partner bucket. So in family, that's like everything around like providing, and doctor's appointments and school stuff. That's all that family bucket, eating, household. And then myself, that's my hair and my nails. I make sure every 2 weeks I'm going to go do that. And then my partner bucket was really like, I don't cheat on him. That's my
You're right.
that's my
You better
partner
be
bucket.
lucky. You better be lucky.
That's my partner bucket. So I didn't see anything wrong with those buckets. Initially, I'm like, yeah, this journal, all right, let's go.
Hey,
I'm
we're in
winning. I
there.
got it, right? This is great. So again, peeling back the layers, going through the chapters. So now I'm gonna jump to page 73.
Okay.
So um, so if you're following along, uh, please turn to chapter 73, Revelations, verse 2.
Right.
Please turn to that, okay? So, um, so this section, this whole page just really kind of made me reflect on um, my upbringing, and I'm like, I don't even know if that's what it was intended to do, but that's where it took me to, um, and really kind of just what I saw growing up. So the quote, it's not about perfection, it's about effort. So I realized that I was putting in a lot of effort, or so I thought, but I was putting in a lot of effort to have a different family dynamic than what I was raised in.
Mm,
So I don't believe I was seeking perfection, but I was definitely putting effort and energy around. I'm going to do things different than like how my mom did it and what I saw. So that's the notes I was taking. So in reality, going back to some of those earlier questions, I realized that I like really created some similar situations that my mom actually had. So that's why this really spoke to me a little bit. So like she was all about family. She really didn't take time for herself. And my stepdad was, he was in his own lane. He was there. So with my effort of being different, I was actually really the same. So
mm,
that kind of gave me a little pause for a little while. It really gave me a little pause. Um, and then the question that came up around, in what ways have you invested in your family that were uh, not financial? So again, in my goal to be different, I felt like this was something I made a lot of effort to do, like giving my boys time. So just giving them my time, creating space for my time. Because growing up, my mom made time, but mostly it was like for school stuff, you know. If it wasn't about school or something that has to do with education or maybe even sports, time just wasn't really there because she was working a lot. You know, she was working, she was on her hustle. So when I sat on that for a little bit, I'm like, yeah, I'm giving my kids time, but then there's lots of instances where I prioritize work. You know, I prioritize work, you know, not showing up for things. Um, and it was all for the financial gain, you know, it was for the financial gain. So similar to the corporate ladder my mom was working on, here I am making the effort to say, I'm going to be spending time, but I gave up a lot of time because I was also prioritizing work. So that was another kind of peeling back, peeling back the onion with that question. Don't know if that's where it intended, but that's where it took me. Um, so uh, also as I was kind of writing and just kind of getting it all out, I would I would go back and I would just kind of read what I wrote. And then again, peeling back the onion, the more that I realized, I'm like, I didn't really reference my husband or really being a wife. Like I talked about like family, I talked about my boys, but partner, I just said, you know, I'm not cheating. I don't cheat. And that's really all the only reference I made. So that was another example of like, I made an effort that I was going to be different, but I resulted in the same because I just didn't really think of like a partner of other than you're there. Like my stepdad, he was there, he was in his lane. That's what I saw, and I'm like, I'm doing the right thing. So even with trying to be a different wife, I ended up kind of being the same. So
Mhm.
so this entire chapter just took me on like this circle of you're not you're not doing as different as you thought you were doing. Um, but I never stopped to have that kind of revelation until I did this chapter. So I think it was necessary for me. Um, and I just really realized that when it comes to setting boundaries, I really need to set boundaries with myself. Like I need to set boundaries with myself because I tend to do too much. I don't think I'm OCD like to LaDon's degree. I don't think I'm that.
No
LaDon.
one,
Most
no.
people are not. Most humans are not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm that, but I definitely have a tendency to want to, like you guys have seen it when I travel for work. I like to make sure everything is just done so Bob doesn't even have to think about it. And really, I'm doing that because I just want to make sure it's done the way like I would have done it if I was there. So I'm claiming I'm helping him, but
It's
really it's just
control.
yes, but it's easing my mind of I just don't want to he didn't forget it. So if I just do it and he doesn't have to think about it, then I know even though I'm not there, it's still being done the way I think it should be done. Even though he calls me 100 times just to make sure, you know, he's doing it right. So setting the boundaries of like letting people take on things. Like I don't
Yeah.
have to do it all. So I need to really start to set boundaries with myself because he's not asking me to do that, but I just do it. I just do it. Um, so yeah, this chapter took me here, there. It was taking me all over the place. But I think it was necessary. I think it was necessary because I would have never stopped to have those moments of you're trying so hard to be different, but you're actually going down the same patterns that you saw growing up. Like I really thought my household is so different than what I grew up in, but in reality, it's actually the same. You would think I didn't like my husband if you looked at this journal, but I do. I do like him. He's in his lane, like just like my stepdad was in his lane. You know, you would think
Compartmentalized, like he's in this cubby hole
exactly.
and
Yes. And I didn't even know I was doing that. I thought I was different.
Yeah.
So yeah, this book I didn't think I was a journaler. Now I'm like, I'm gonna write it down. If I'm frustrated, I'm just gonna write it down and then tuck it away, you know. So for me, this was kind of the start of a continuous journey of just expressing and counseling. So and just taking moments to just kind of just stop, because I think I just get into the rat race of life, and I don't really take moments to just stop and say like, okay, let me look at what I've done thus far. So I said a lot in a little bit of time.
No, no, no. It was
Said a
all
whole lot, but
amazing.
you're continuing to prove our point. So of course, everyone that's looking at this from now to infinity,
Yeah.
this is not scripted. We don't talk about this ahead of time. Me and LaDon get together and she's like, okay, what cold question you like? And then that's about it. Outside of that, everything is authentic.
Yeah.
So for you to get a different one word, a different reading of each one of the quoting questions, and you have your own experience, is the
Hmm.
power of the journal.
Yes.
Hmm.
You will have your own beneficial experience, and you may just have some actionable things that you can take. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure Brenda's like, okay, how am I gonna like my husband differently,
Show
or
him, show
place
him,
him,
and
show
I can
him
put it in the
differently,
column
or
and see
what
it.
am I
Yeah.
gonna do? Or and Brenda, I guess I can ask you, is there one thing that you actually have either started doing or you're taking a different approach to based on going through the this chapter?
Yeah, like I've actually started letting him, if he's watching the boys, he watches the boys. Like he actually does it and he's okay. So I've created the boundary. Like if I have to be here, then it's like, okay, I'll see you later. Peace out. I'll be back. And
Right.
he's got it. So really for him, he feels like I actually trust him more. And I'm like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
didn't, yeah, and it's like I never said I didn't trust you, but that's what he was getting. He was
Yeah.
getting like, you don't
right,
trust me.
right.
Yeah. So for him to say that I trust him now, it's like I never not. What do you mean? Like that, but that's what he was getting from me being like, okay, Bob,
Right.
say this to that person, hand them the bag, start the car. Yeah. And when I was thinking about my personal bucket, I don't even remember, LaDonna, when we had this conversation. It might have been before the journal, but you
Yeah.
just asked me like, what do you do, to take care of yourself? And I was like, well, I make sure, I get my hair done. I make sure I go. And you were like, yeah, that's maintenance. That's a good thing to do. But what do you do to take care of yourself? And I was like, I
Uh,
am taking care of myself.
who are
Like,
you to tell me?
yes, exactly. And I think we had that conversation before that.
Yeah.
So when I come back to the book and I'm writing it, and I still didn't see anything wrong with that, there's just work I need to do on what taking care of myself looks like.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And
good.
and,
Okay.
and th- there's nothing wrong with maintenance.
It's not.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with maintenance, but I just want people to differentiate. So if they close down all the hair salons and nail salons, what what now? What are you
Yeah.
considering taking care
Oh,
of you, your soul? What makes you
Hmm.
happy, right? So you share so many. I saw Nicole taking copious notes over there, so I know she got questions.
As usual, she always does.
Yeah. So I mean, you
are
said
you?
so many things like just until you get it out, you don't recognize your pattern. And so you told yourself in your head, based on things you thought you were doing, that your household was so different. But seeing it, now you are able to pinpoint where you have an opportunity to really create the difference that you want, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I also love that you talked about something that many couples go through, because most women in a relationship feel like we got the answers, we do all the household stuff correct, we rear the children correct. And when we take on so much and try to control so much because we know it will be done right,
Hmm.
right is by our standards, they may try, he may try, but then he'll fall back because he doesn't want to argue with you. It's just easier. But they end up tending to feel like you don't trust them.
Hmm.
But when you give
Hmm.
someone that space, you get to see what they can do. And not only that, they get to prove what they can do. Not only that, it gives them an opportunity to bond with their child.
Hmm. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
wouldn't have had to spend that time to do that thing because you already had it done, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And I noticed that because I wasn't letting him do it, he would do it half-ass. Oh,
Yeah.
oop, can I cuss?
Good,
Is
we
that a
grown.
cuss?
We
Oh, sorry.
grown.
I'm like, oh my God. Okay, sorry. He would do it half-ass. And it's like, but now that I don't have an opinion about it. It's like you own what they look like when they walk out the door because you picked out their clothes. he's not doing it that way anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I got you.
yeah,
But he used to do it like that because he's like, I knew you would just come back and change your clothes anyway.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 He's
So
slick. He's
now
a
he's
slick one.
actually, yeah, he's actually making an effort because he's like, oh, you're not going to change it. So if I have them walking out of the house like that, you're not going to say, come back in here and change it. No, I'm not. You got it.
You got it.
So
You
yeah,
got it.
yeah,
That's
it's been kind of
awesome.
freeing. Yeah.
I'm so glad this journal has opened up so many things, and we've had, this is night 5. We've had four guests on, and it was so powerful for me because I was able to do it and it was mine. No one else
Mm-hmm.
saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone else said that and you said that. I was able to share something that I've shared with nobody else, even the counselors. This journal gave me the space to do it. Or Milton, the first guy that we've had on the show, he talked about the power in being able to do this work with a group because you learn from others, you feed off others, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you might learn something or hear something that you never would have if you were doing it on your own. So we found through our guests that there are a myriad of ways to experience this experience. So yeah.
That's why I was taking copious notes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like this is I think everybody needs a copy. Everybody needs a
Nice.
copy.
Okay, y'all
Yes.
heard Brenda.
Yes.
Etsy.com. Everybody needs a copy.
Yes. Yeah. And I appreciate the spacing also because I was definitely a wide ruled person in college. I appreciate the extra space in the writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We were very intentional about that when we were thinking about the size of the journal, because
Yeah.
most journals are not 8.5 by 11.
Yeah.
And you got to cram and then write all on the side.
Yes. Yes.
Not only did we make it an 8.5 by 11, we gave you front and back to write
Yeah.
on. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So those little things, those go a long way.
They do. They do. They make all the difference in the experience. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Thank you.
Yeah.
Brenda,
Thanks, Brenda.
really good. I hope the stuff that you shared, um, people heard and maybe are now willing to take a real hard introspective look at themselves, because we appear one way on the outside and it may not really
Yeah.
be who we are and what we
Mm-hmm.
do. And so
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you gave somebody permission and the courage to do that, and the desire to want to really be the person who you think you're trying to be, but
Yeah.
it takes effort to do that.
Yes. Definitely.
Did,
Definitely.
did we get any more comments, LaDon, on what folks would need to
No,
forgive?
I didn't. Nobody was brave enough to put
Oh
in
man, that's
what,
okay. That's
yeah,
okay.
what
Write
they
it in the
yeah,
journal.
yeah, you
Write it in the journal.
write it in your journal. I want to
Yes.
give a shout out to Jackie. I think she's joined since since we started the call. Everybody else I've given a shout out to, and thank you again for joining us this evening. So okay, go ahead, Nicole.
Right. No, I didn't have anything. I mean, Brenda, was there anything else that you wanted to share? If you had to pitch a 15-second commercial for the journal, what would you say?
I'm sorry. We just had
No,
one more comment
no,
come up.
Oh,
Verna
no.
said, seeking forgiveness for saying hurtful things, hurt people, hurt others. And
Oh, man,
that is
I love
so
her.
truthful. So when you were raised a certain way or saw a certain thing,
That's
we
so true.
emulate what we were taught,
That's so
what
true.
we
Mm-hmm.
know. And so you might not even know that you're hurting because you're operating in the way that you know to operate. So yeah, thank you
Right.
for sharing that. That was very, very honest. Thank you. Thank you, Verna. Okay.
Verna, I'm getting
Yeah.
this a hug from me.
Okay.
The elbows right there, but yeah, just don't worry about the elbow situation.
Yeah, yeah. No, I would just say I encourage everybody to go through the workbook, go through the journal. And even if you're like me, you can go in the order, or you can maybe skip a question. You can do this. That's the magic of it. You can do it the way you want to do it. You can do it, start at chapter 5, go to chapter 1.
Yes.
So there's no method to it, but you'll get so much out of it.
Yeah.
So
Ooh, thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank
You
you,
get
Brenda.
ready to that. There's no prescriptive way. Whatever speaks to your soul,
Mm-hmm.
when you open it up, that's where you go.
Yeah. And chapter 5 was like the first one that spoke to me. I was like, that's my life. I can go through that one.
I ain't left that chapter yet. It's been 2 months. I'm just.
Yeah, no. And when I was looking back at it, that's what really, I was like, I didn't talk about Bob at all. I was like, oh my goodness, what is wrong with me? So yeah, it's to be continued. When is the Conquering the Marriage Inner Storm coming out? When is that one coming out?
Oh, we gotta
Girl, hold on.
we
You
gotta get
can't
people
write
through
right.
themselves. We
Okay.
gotta get you get some awareness of self first, and then we can talk
Yeah.
about building
Okay.
the partnership.
Okay. Okay.
That's hard too. You still writing it down right.
So like by the time we do that, you would have filled up your section for Bob, and you'll be able to.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
filling up. It's
yeah,
filling up. It
yeah,
is
yeah,
filling up
Yeah.
now that I realize I need to fill that up. It's not a
Yeah.
lane by itself. It's filling up.
Awesome.
yeah. Well, thank you everybody for joining on this night and every night that you joined us. We are on day 5. And
Yes.
tomorrow will be day 6. We will be back, same bat time, same bat station, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we
Yep.
look so forward to the opportunity to share who we are with you all, hoping that it is insightful, hoping that it provides information for you that frees you to be a better you, because that's the goal. This
Right.
is all about personal development. This is all about self-discovery. This is all about finding out who you are, opening up some of those doors that you closed, and being okay with what
Mhm.
comes out, and figuring out how to navigate that and creating a better life for yourself, a better life for those around you. So thank you so much for joining us on today and every day. You have anything else,
Thank
Nicole?
y'all.
Jump on.
No, thanks everybody. We love you. We're so blessed by your presence. Thank you for your feedback. Keep it coming. So if you know me or LaDon or both of us, call us, whatever feedback you got. This is only gonna sharpen that
Yes,
saw.
yes.
So please continue to feedback and thank you so much for your support.
And thank you so much, Brenda. You were amazing.
Yes. Brenda the King. Brenda the King.
We will talk at you guys later. We will see you tomorrow. Have a good
All
evening.
righty. Bye-bye.